Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Khadija, certified life coach, and as always, this is Greystone, my bear. We are going through the video series of loneliness. Now, this is the third video in the series. So, how have you been liking it so far? Awesome. Anything you need help with? How to maintain the friends that you have. So now that we have gone through the process of figuring out are we lonely or not, how to get friends, we are now going to discuss how to maintain them. It's interesting that we have to talk about this as adults, but I think one thing we have to acknowledge is growing up, and even in your teens and when in your 20s, when you're going either in college or in the workforce, a lot of your friendships are going to be that of proximity, which means whoever's close to you. When you're in elementary school, for the most part, your friends are going to either be in your neighborhood or in your school. Same thing all the way once you graduate high school, and then once you get to college, once again, it's going to be friends of proximity, always. Who is close to you? That's how you're going to form your friendships. And sometimes that will lead to friendships that may fizzle out, because once you're no longer forced to be around somebody, you may realize, oh, okay, well, maybe that person isn't that great for me. Even in adulthood, sometimes the friends that you make at work, that's the level 3 and 4 friends that we talked about in the last video. They may be friends at work, but once you quit or leave that job, they're nowhere to be found. And once again, that's okay. But in maintaining friendships, you first have to be consistent. When someone is getting out of the level 3 into the level 2 tiers of friendship, you guys are going out more, and it's going to be a broader topic of your main topic of friendship. So if you became friends because you work at the same place, once you start branching into that level 2 level of friendship, you're not going to talk about work. You're going to talk about your family. You're going to talk about your individual interests that you've had outside of workplace. If you made a friend, let's say on a sports team, and you both love soccer, once they go from that level 3 to level 2, you're not going to really talk about soccer as a main subject in a lot of your conversations. But the important thing is be consistent. Show up and do things that may be out of your comfort zone. This does not mean do anything dangerous. So if you have a work friend and they're like, woohoo, let's go skydiving, but it's going to be some kind of extreme skydiving where instead of putting on a pack, you just hold a parachute in your hands, and it's going to be so great and in such a rush, you may think, oof, I don't want to do that. That might be a bit dangerous. But let's say you have a work friend and they're into clogging. And they're like, oh my gosh, I am in this clogging competition. I would love for you to come and watch me. Okay, well, it would not hurt you that much to just go see. It may be interesting. It may be fun. It may be something that you're like, oh wow, this is really interesting. I can really do this. Or you may go there and just smile the whole time and go, oh yeah. And then you never go back. But the point is, you're supporting them. And that's another thing that is necessary to maintain a friendship, is that constant, well, not really constant, more consistent support in the things that they do. Now, this, once again, nuance is the key to a lot of these conversations. That does not mean support them if they are going to do anything hazardous or a danger to themselves or illegal, things like that. But if it's something fun, if it's something they're interested in, why not? It may be something that you can maybe find an interest in yourself. But if you do that consistently, you can deepen the bonds. You may see a part of them that would not have normally came out had you not gone to this clogging competition or whatever it is that they want to do. And it's something that doesn't necessarily cause any pain or hurt on your part. So why not? And then you can go from there and you can kind of gauge, am I able to be a good friend to them? Is this too much for me? Oh, I thought I liked them, but no, this is just too weird. Whatever the case may be, and then you can proceed in your friendship that way. Now, another thing that we want to think about and talk about is setting boundaries. If you don't set proper boundaries on the front end, you're going to set yourself up to be a doormat and to be used. And we don't want that to happen either, because that will not remedy your loneliness, because then you go from being lonely because you're by yourself than being lonely because you're with somebody who doesn't really like you for you. They just want to use you and things like that. So we have to get used to saying no. That doesn't mean you have to say it with an attitude. That doesn't mean you don't want to be around them anymore for anything. It just means, no, I'm not going to do that. And so let's say you have a friend and they want to go to some outdoor festival in Arizona, and you are in Tennessee, and you're like, I can't go that. And they're like, come on, you can just open up some credit cards, you can borrow money from people, and you have to really inconvenience yourself and others for you to do this. That doesn't mean you don't want to be friends with them. It just means you can't do this one thing. So you can simply go, I can't, and it's something that I don't want to inconvenience myself or others around me to do. So I'm going to skip it this time, but we can always go to the festivals that are in our neighborhood and that are around us, and you can do it that way. If there's a boundary of using your stuff, because some people don't have boundaries. Some people don't have boundaries at all, and they will show you how boundaryless they are once they get to that level of comfort around you, and you have to kind of set up the border. If they're like, oh, let me borrow your car. No, you've crashed the last 3 cars that you've borrowed from your other friends. I don't want you to borrow mine. And if you take my keys, I will call the police on you. Don't do that, because some people will try you. Or a friend that you meet, and you guys are getting to know each other and you're hanging out, but then you find yourself in a position where they want too much from you that you can't give. It's okay to say, no, that's a little too much right now. I can't do it. I appreciate you coming to me, but I can't. Saying no is so important, because then that way you won't feel like you're being taken advantage of, and they won't feel that you can be taken advantage of. Now, in the next few videos, or the next video I'm going to do, we're going to discuss red flags and when to cut off a friendship. But saying no doesn't necessarily mean they can't be friends, because some people are just not that self-aware. And so you may have a friend that's like, oh, let me borrow your clothes. And it's like, well, I don't like people in my clothes. You pretty rough on clothes. You might tear them up. And by the time you get it out, they're already in your closet. Well, that person probably doesn't have appropriate boundaries. And so you have to go, hey, stop that. Like, you're cool and all, but no, you need to get out my closet. I don't want you going through my stuff. And if they want to be a real friend to you and they want to be a good friend to you, they will just simply say, oh, okay, sorry. And they'll leave it at that, and you'll redirect to something, another fun activity. You'll redirect to something else, and it will work out fine. But of course, if you get a friend that you're like, oh, you can't borrow my clothes, I don't like people in my clothes, and they use that as a way to attack you, then yeah, you might want to step back and reevaluate some things. Because relationships, whether it's friendships or romantic relationships, they all have different levels of nuance in them. So it's those 100 little things that you don't really talk about, but you kind of see and you kind of feel. You have to take a lot of that into account. So that's what we're going to do. But in maintaining a friendship, communication, just like all relationships, communicate. Say, hey, what's going on? What are you doing? What are we doing? And just kind of see if things align. Do you have a lot of common interests? Can y'all have fun together? Can you just hang out together? Things like that. And the more you do it, the more you're going to want to, because that's becoming a really, really close friend at that moment. And we want to keep the kind of the good times rolling. But also if they have a traumatic event in their life, so if a family member dies or a pet dies, whatever the case may be, you're gonna have to be consistent in offering them support if you want to be like that level 2 friend. So you may have to hear them cry on the phone. You may have to take them out to get drinks if they're just feeling really down and lonely. Things of that nature. So we got to be consistent in that, because having friends doesn't always mean nothing but good times to be had. A lot of people think that when you have a friend, it's constantly smiling, when it's not. Sometimes having a friend means you're going to be there to hold them when they're crying, or you're going to be there to talk about an hour and a half of nothingness when they're frustrated about something and they're trying to work through some things in their mind. It doesn't mean that they want you to provide solutions for them. It just means that they need somebody there, like the sounding board, the emotional support. They may feel they're doing the right thing, but they just want that added level of confirmation from somebody that they trust and respect. And that's what a good friend will do. Well, that's the end of this video. So just keep in mind to maintain your friendship, be consistent. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. I'm getting my website together for my life coaching business. So once all that is together, I will link it at the bottom. But if you have any questions or directly to me, you can always send them to thecrackcocoon@gmail.com, which I will also put down in the comment section below. All right, thank you once again. Have a great day.